Howdy doody, everybody. This is Taco Movie Talks. This is episode 8, and you may or may not know by this juncture whether you've watched some of the other episode 8 videos, but this is all being broken up to one video per movie. They're all week 8 movies, but they're just being broken up. And if you like this, I would like to know in the comments, and if you don't like this, let me know in the comments as well. But while we're at it, let's if you could, I would very much appreciate a like and a subscription. Without further ado, let's not mess around too much before we get into another Ingmar Bergman film, as this week has been absolutely chock full of them. And I have to say, I don't think I've ever done 3 movies from one director in a week. So it was definitely an experience, and maybe a recommendation on my part if this is a director you're looking to get an understanding of, because he is one of the greats. I recently saw a list in which he was ranked as the number 5 director according to certain criteria chosen by this certain group. And they seem to have a relatively good list, and I'm not sure exactly how their point system was calculated, but Stanley Kubrick was number 1. I think Kira Kurosawa was number 3, Scorsese 2, Bergman was 5, and I think David Lynch was number 4. So those are all the top 5 right there, and I think a lot of fans of cinema, a lot of people who like to watch different cinema would probably, have those in their top 5 as well. Maybe not in that order and maybe not all of them in their top 5, but I think a lot of people would say, "Yeah, Scorsese, for example, is my favorite director so far," but things will could possibly change because I am just beginning to gain a lot of exposure to these different directors, and Ingmar Bergman is certainly one that is really coming in hot. I've got to say, if you haven't already, check out the video on my channel, Bergman Week with Ethan, and be on the lookout for more Bergman material because that is certainly a director that I want to watch more and more. Because not only this film, Seven Seal, and Persona, they kind of change the viewing experience. It's not such a passive experience, maybe, for lack of a better phrasing. It becomes more thought provoking, where it is that is part of the experience. Is the director is definitely trying to have you take away certain things while viewing the film to make sense of the plot or to kind of contextualize the plot in your own way. And this was the first Ingmar Bergman film that I ever watched. And I have to say, looking back at this after watching 2 more of his films, I think there could have uh, definitely been a lot of deeper thoughts that could have came out of this movie if I was examining the scenes and scrubbing them just as hard as I did the other ones, because those kind of they call out more for you to do that. And yes, this film does as well, but it was very much more surface level observations that I was able to make while watching this film. And I think it's because my understanding of the director wasn't fully fleshed out yet. But the great thing about Bergman is whether you are neck deep into the themes and interpretations of what you're watching, or if you're watching it more passively. Now, again, your appreciation will probably increase the deeper you allow yourself to delve into these movies. But you can also, and I'm speaking from personal experience, very much enjoy it whether you do that or not. This film, to me, on first viewing, felt very much like The Reflections, which is I don't know if ironic, but funny, being as though that is in the slide right now, of an older gentleman who, as we all do, he's made some mistakes. I think that he's able to identify reflecting. And it takes special moments for us to be able to really give ourselves like a good look into the past to identify what type of person we've been and who we are, and maybe even try to look at what might have made us one way or another. That certainly seems to be what we're looking through in this film, and its ability to do so is so freaking good, and it's just as good, if not better, in The Seventh Seal, in Persona, and it makes Igmar a just brilliant, brilliant, brilliant director. He can squeeze so much into so little time, and he can tell it like no other. I am really, really starting to appreciate what this man is able to do, and I think there's definitely a lot of deeper things that are able to be told here, because there's a lot going on. Although on the surface, if I was just to give a beat for beat summation of what happens, you might say that doesn't sound like much. But there's a trip from the house where the old man is now to his birthplace, and then to the home that his son lives in at now. And there's like minor conflicts and kind of major parts of the plot, and that his daughter-in-law isn't too keen on him because I think she sees what her husband could very well turn into if things don't turn around for him. And I also there's a younger couple that ends up accompanying them back to where they're going, that maybe kind of reflect what the past has kind it could have been or was for the older man, because he had seen himself very much betrayed in relationships with women. That seems to be something that kind of comes up that I've seen in Bergman's films, where the complexities of the male and female relationship are always there for for the viewing and for the contribution to the plot, and that very much makes it a very, very interesting. And also the generational effect that we have, how our parents are always affecting us, and whether that is going to, I mean, we're a byproduct of our parents by definition, and we more often than not will follow in their footsteps, or some in specific situations can be lucky enough to use our parents as an example. Well, I want to restate this because I think it was starting to come out incorrectly. There are fortunate situations where when our parents may not be the best role models, that the child is able to break off the the trodden path to become their own person and avoid the same pitfalls as their parents. And hopefully that comes out a lot better than maybe what was coming out of my mouth prior, because I don't think by any means if you have bad role models as parents, that's a fortunate situation or a lucky situation. And that was not what I was trying to insinuate whatsoever. But m- more accurately, that our parents can maybe make those realizations and warn us, or that we can look at a negative aspect of them, recognize it, and then make the conscious decision that I don't care whether I've been following in those footsteps this whole time, or not even have begun to, but I don't want to be that. That's a negative thing that I don't wanna see in myself, and I wanna be something better. It's the greatness of Bergman. It allows you to think so much about his movies, and it's like abstract art where you can kind of put what seems to be not a whole lot on the canvas, but it is able to just stir up so much in your mind that the subjectivity of the art is able to make it just a whole nother creation. I think that is a great aspect of Bergman's films. And while I find this to be a very, very, very great film, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, it's not my highest Bergman, which I think speaks volumes towards how good his catalog is. And I've just brushed the surface of it. I've only watched 3 Bergman films, but so far his work is great, and I would recommend any of you to watch him and watch his stuff, and then be on the lookout for this channel to cover more of his movies because they're really good, and I think you will all be able to appreciate him in one way or another, as I hope you appreciated this video in one way or another. Also, hey, be sure to comment down below. Do you like this new format? If not, I'm gonna roll with it, unless a lot of people say that they would rather have a more long form format. I mean, there's gonna be co-host, guest hosts on, and hopefully those are long form that you can dip your toes into. But if you like these to be long form as well, let me know because I want to do what you guys like because I just like being able to talk about these movies, to be honest. So it's a win-win for me, and it's just slight tweaks on how it's done, to be honest. So I can do either one, and I live to please, as some would say. But also, like and subscribe because I very much appreciate all of that jazz too. So I will catch you on the next video. Thank y'all.